Hi everybody, this is Big Papa Grump, and this is a recap of the 2018 edition of WWE Money in the Bank. Alright, starting with the pre-show match, which was for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships between the champs, the Bludgeon Brothers, and the challengers, the Club, Gallows and Anderson. Bludgeon Brothers won. A relatively short match, had a lot of impact to it. Was, for being so short, it was kind of fun. But it basically was just an elongated squash match is kind of how it ended. So I just try to keep the Bludgeon Brothers looking dominant. It was okay. It was for what it was pretty good. Alright, opening the show was Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. I really thought they were going to give Big Cass the win on this one, just so they could set up a rubber match at Extreme Rules. But no, Daniel Bryan gets the submission win after, the match kind of went how I thought it was going to go. Daniel Bryan was trying to smartly wrestle and pick apart Big Cass. Big Cass was just trying to, basically bruiser him. And, but yeah, Big Cass is getting better, I think. I would really like him to move on from this. My best attribute is that I'm tall thing. But yeah, it was a decent match. It wasn't overly exciting, but it was a solid opening match for the card. Alright, going to talk about the Intercontinental Championship match between Seth Rollins and Elias. I'm not necessarily going in order. I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit. Seth Rollins retains after kind of cheating to win. This again was a solid, fun match. Seth Rollins is always exciting to watch when he goes, and Elias is another guy that is improving and getting much smarter in the ring, and it ended up being an entertaining match. Again, not super exciting. They didn't have any wow. It wasn't like a show stealer or anything like that, but it was a good, fun match. Elias had tried to roll him up, holding the tights a couple times, so Seth kind of did the same thing to him and actually got the win. So that's probably going to prolong the feud. Because whenever that happens, then the heel is like, you cheated, and the face never thinks to go, oh yeah, look at all the times you tried it, so shut up. But yeah, so that was a decent one. Like I said, Seth Rollins retains, still the Intercontinental Champion. Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley. This was one that I had mentioned in the preview, the one of two matches I really did not care about, and this match did nothing to change my mind. It was probably in my opinion, was the worst match of the night, although there was nothing inherently wrong with it, but it basically ended up being the second elongated squash match of the night. Bobby Lashley just basically kicked his ass, and he picks up the win, and hopefully they'll both move on from this feud, because there's nothing going on with this feud that makes me want to continue watching these two on Raw every week. Alright, for the second match that going into it I did not care about, and obviously neither did the Chicago crowd. It was another chance for the live crowd to just go out of their way to boo Roman Reigns. This match was actually pretty good. It was the number one contenders match between Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns. Roman won after, there was shenanigans with Sunil Singh in the wheelchair and all of that. Again, nothing really stood out, but this was a solid, pretty good match. One of the better matches Jinder has had on pay-per-views, pretty much since kind of becoming SmackDown and or Raw, depending on what show he is, resident, top heel. So he put on a good show. Roman Reigns is always solid in the ring. I never have anything negative to say about Roman, except sometimes the energy level doesn't always get up there, and his matches are kind of predictable. They really need to either turn him heel or just make him a badass, because this whole the Cena shtick with him coming from behind in every match is really but that's part of the problem, at least for people who aren't just out to boo Roman but have issues with him, is that they're really booking his matches kind of wrong. It's like I could see the underdog thing against Brock Lesnar and maybe Braun Strowman, but really there's nobody else on the Raw roster who he should be struggling with for an entire match. It at very least should be back and forth and make him maybe come back at the end when the heel gets the upper hand, but no, it's always the underdog thing with him, and nobody's really buying it. I'm not buying it. I don't really like it when they do that. he's better than that. So, but I'm off my soapbox now. Okay, I was originally going to do the women's championship match and then the men's championship match and then cover the ladder matches, but there's a continuity issue with that, so I'm going to just start with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which featured Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Naomi, Lana from SmackDown, and then Sasha Banks, Natalya, Ember Moon, and Alexa Bliss from Raw. And Alexa Bliss wins. I thought for sure they were going to put it on Natty and do a cash-in with after the Ronda match, or possibly in the next week or so on Raw to maybe build it a little bit more. But no, Alexa Bliss comes away with the win, and I was okay with that. I mean, I hate not getting a point whenever I pick someone, but sometimes I'm okay with being wrong as well because, Alexa Bliss deserves it. So I thought Becky Lynch did too, and I also thought Natalya did. Actually, there really wasn't anybody in that match that, other than Lana, who I thought there was no way they were going to give her the Money in the Bank. Just because Lana, I mean, they did it last year with Carmella, and she was still kind of green and still kind of learning and finding her footing, and it worked out okay. So they could have done it with Lana as well, but I just didn't think they were going to. But yeah, Alexa Bliss gets the win, and yeah, that'll just take us right into Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax later in the night for the Raw Women's Championship. And yeah, it was first of all, Ronda Rousey impressed me again. She sells pretty well. She plays the I don't know what to do against this woman face pretty well. Nia Jax, it was pretty solid in this match as well. She's, it's nice to see her showing heelish tendencies because I think she's better as a heel than she is as a face, at least at this point. And yeah, it was really back and forth. There were spots where you thought, oh, this is over. Ronda did a flying crossbody, so that was off the top rope, so that was kind of cool. Kind of showing that she's adding stuff. The psychology of her trying to get to the armbar was interesting, and technically, Ronda Rousey gets the win because Alexa Bliss came down with her briefcase. She hits Ronda Rousey with the briefcase, ending the match. Therefore, Ronda Rousey wins by disqualification. And so then she also hit Nia Jax. So she basically went back and forth and throwing Ronda Rousey around and all that. And then, yeah, she cashes in on Nia Jax and is your new Raw Women's Champion. So there you go. That was a really good use of the same night cash in, because same night cash ins to me, I had thought that Dean Ambrose was the first one, but actually Junior pointed out it was Kane. And one of the reasons I didn't remember Kane had done it same night is because there was like no emotional impact with that one. When Dean Ambrose did it, it was part of that whole Shield thing and his hatred for Seth Rollins and all this other stuff. And then when Alexa Bliss cashes in, she's getting revenge on Nia Jax for WrestleMania. So, yeah, it was, if you can do it and have it be part of the storytelling, it's always that much more exciting. Okay, so the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Carmella and Asuka. Not my favorite match of the night, although, again, nothing inherently wrong with it. Carmella looked outstanding in this match. Asuka just looked like Asuka. But then you had the swerve at the end where, we were all trying to figure out exactly how they were going to fit Ellsworth in. I thought Ellsworth was going to cost Carmella the championship as, the whole, revenge for kind of being scorned by her and all that. But no, she helped her win, dressed up as Asuka, and Asuka stood there for, what seemed like 10 freaking hours looking confused and scared. And after he reveals himself in typical heel taking off a mask fashion, Carmella gets the win and she retains. I'm okay with Carmella retaining. I'm okay with how the match ended, actually, except there was a stretch there was awkward where Asuka was just staring, almost like she was waiting for something else to happen. So I don't know what was going on with that, but it was a little weird. But then when it actually got to the finish, it was, I'm okay with it. So that'll bring us to the last man standing match for the SmackDown Live Heavyweight Championship, or the World Heavyweight Championship, however you want to look at it. The one that's being defended. Between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, and I really thought they were going to give this one to Shinsuke, because I really thought that going into that match, if you have Shinsuke lose again, you're going to have to take him out of the World Championship picture, which, okay. But at the same time, you're kind of really hurting his, his credibility as a heel. Golden Boy disagrees with me on that point, and I'm not 100% sold on that theory either, now that the match is played out, and I've thought about it overnight. But yeah, AJ Styles gets the win after he just flat out kicks him in the nuts. That was funny. Like, the match was really good. A lot of good spots, a lot of back and forth, injured knees, calf crushers, Kinshasas, Styles clashes off the steps, all kinds of fun stuff. People going through tables, people going over tables, people going under tables. It was great. It was a lot of fun. It was by far, to me, the best match they've had during this feud. That being said, I still really wanted them to put the belt on Shinsuke. Even if you take it off of him later, he accomplished what he wanted, so he adds some credibility to himself. But it remains to be seen how because I don't trust WWE's booking of him, because it's been a little underwhelming so far. So, but yeah, AJ gets the win, and I'm okay with AJ retaining. Maybe he moves on to The Miz, maybe he moves on to Cass, maybe he moves on to Rusev. So who knows? But yeah, so AJ Styles retains. Just to summarize, he kicks him in the nuts really, really hard, and then did a phenomenal forearm off the thing for the outside. There was something involved there, and that was the end of it. So yeah, so AJ retains. All is good. That brings us to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. From Raw, you had Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, and Kevin Owens. SmackDown, you had Samoa Joe, The Miz, Rusev, and in a surprise, Kofi Kingston, because I thought that the New Day were going to pick Big E, and at the very least Xavier Woods, but no, they went with Kofi Kingston. They went with the guy that had the most experience, and he's, I believe, now 0-7 in Money in the Bank ladder matches. Yeah, this one was fun. This issue, and Golden Boy brought it up while we were watching, and I agree with him. WWE does this weird thing with their ladder matches, and I understand why they do it, which is they've got, let's say, okay, so these two ladder matches had 8 in them. So you have 6 people dead and 2 people fighting. And then they just kind of, everybody takes turns trying to get back in it. And it does add some excitement as to see, okay, who's going to be the one that comes up in foils or whatever. But I would like to see a little bit more chaos on the outside of the ring going on, like actually things going on. They used to do it that way, prior ladder matches where you had people going through tables on the outside, people trying to get the briefcase, people going through ladders and all this stuff. This match was still fun, though. You had them burying Braun Strowman under a pile of ladders. You had Kofi Kingston doing Kofi Kingston in a ladder match stuff. Bobby Roode really didn't shine all that much. The Miz had a lot of great spots where he almost got the briefcase and almost avoided being beat up by everyone. Kevin Owens going through a table. He was trying to do the frog splash, and Braun caught him and threw him through a table. Rusev had a lot of nice spots where he was doing the accolade on like 3 guys, and so there was a lot of good stuff going on in that match. Braun Strowman wins. That's the one decision I actually question, because does Braun Strowman actually need the Money in the Bank? He could just get a title shot. He just says, I'm wrestling this guy for the #1 contender, and everybody's afraid of him, and he wins. So does he need it? Does it really add anything to his character? Does it progress his character's story arc? That remains to be seen, but that's the issue that I have is, does it though? Does he really need it? So, but all in all, it wasn't bad. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of good spots on the ladders, and the ladders swinging around, and people trying to grab it, and Finn looked good. Finn was flying all over the ring. Like I said, Rusev had some good moments. Kevin Owens had some good stuff. Strowman had a lot of interesting, it was basically Braun Strowman with ladders. So, everybody was trying to gang up on him. But all in all, it was a fun match. This was a much better, this was a nice rebound for WWE from Backlash, which was just, I said it in the recap, it was boring. Just dull. Like, no, there was nothing inherently wrong, just kind of eh. This one, you can question some of the decision making, and not every match was a show stealer, but every match was solid. There was nothing inherently wrong with any of the matches, and some of them were a lot of fun to watch. And that to me, I'm not looking for 5-star matches. I'm looking for fun. I want to enjoy myself watching, and I enjoyed myself watching this one. There were a couple times where we got caught up in conversation, and we kind of realized, like, whoa. While we're talking about stuff, we're kind of missing a really good, not missing, but like not paying enough attention to a really solid or good match. We had that a couple times because you kind of expect some matches to be dull. But this was a pretty good rebound pay-per-view for WWE, so congrats to them, and I had a lot of fun watching it. And yeah, so that's the recap. So as far as the results, they'll be posted, but Big Shez wins the Blue Turtle Shell, the free 2 points you can cash in at any point prior to WrestleMania. So, and that sounds kind of weird because, like, well, just cash in your 2 points. Yeah, but if you're winning, you may want to hold on to them for that last little, just so that it's strategic. You could get away with making some more risky picks if you know that you've got a cushion and you've also got the Blue Turtle Shell, stuff like that. So yeah, I finished last. I only got 4 right. Same with the Wife of Doom and CJ Truth. I don't remember exactly who all had how many points, but it was a good showing for Golden Boy. Obviously, Big Shez. Little Doom had a solid showing again, and Gambler had a pretty solid showing. But yeah, so that was the Money in the Bank, and I've been Big Papa Grump. I'll have all the stuff in text at the end of the video, and I'll catch you next time.